Hi, my name's Roberta Downing, and I have a lot to say. So I really hope that you'll listen, and I really hope that you will take this video and make it viral. From the time I was born in 1966, I have been told by friends and family, siblings, aunts, uncles, that I'd never amount to anything. I'd never be anybody. I wasn't worth a damn. I was also diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at the age of 14. I was one of the youngest to be diagnosed with that disability. My rant or video today is really all about how disabled people are treated. And I'm talking about disabled people who are visually disabled, such as using wheelchairs, walkers, rollators, forearm crutches. I currently live in Endicott, New York, which is in Broome County. This is a very, very old village in the greater Binghamton area, and there is not a lot of wheelchair or handicapped, I should say, housing in the private sector. Now, I don't want to live in low-income housing, and it's not that I'm rich or have a lot of money. I just want to live where I want to live. A lot of these homes are 2-3-story homes. They're old. They fall under the ADA protection because they were built before the ADA clause. Now, in order to get help from the ADA, you have to call your local code department, who has sole autonomy over ADA code violations. Now, a lot of what I have to say may sound angry, and I don't mean it to sound that way. But the landlords that own property in Binghamton, Johnson City, Endwell, Endicott, you should all be ashamed of yourselves. You own properties and you put these properties up for rent. Hardly none of them are wheelchair accessible. You just think that everybody can walk on 2 legs, and that's not the case. To all of you out there who are healthy and able to walk around on 2 legs, here's something I want you to really, truly, seriously think about. Okay? Accidents happen. Disease happens. Old age happens. Where any one of those things could put you or one of your loved ones in the same situation, in a wheelchair. We all know that nursing homes are not very good. There's a lot of abuse that happens in them. We've seen it in the newspaper. We've seen it on the news channels. So we know. Here's a novel idea. Think ahead. Make your homes accessible. You may have a friend that's, disabled, can't walk that well, might be in a wheelchair, might have to use 4 arm crutches, can't climb stairs. But do you know what you're actually really doing? You're keeping them from their right to be in society, to be a part of society. And businesses, you're no different. There are some churches out there that are no different. ADA law says that disabled people have every right to become part of and integrate into their communities. This means schools, courthouses, government, state, city, village, even voting places must be accessible. I remember one time when I was living in Hunter, New York, the village hall was not wheelchair accessible. I go to do my God-given duty to vote. I was forced to vote outside on the sidewalk, outside of the village hall, with people walking by and literally looking to see who I voted for. Unacceptable. I called the voting people, and I was told, well, if it's not accessible, that's what you need to do. And another thing is that, as businesses and apartments and homes, you can get grants to make apartments and or businesses handicapped and or wheelchair accessible at no cost to you. And businesses that hire disabled people who have the skill set they're looking for, you actually get a tax break. A tax break every year. That's less taxes than you would have to make every year. So you're saving money. All I want to say now is that I am utterly ashamed of business owners, homeowners that rent out rooms or apartments, and apartment owners that rent out apartments, and they're not accessible. Here's a news flash for you. We are far in number than what you think. Many of us are being forced to the street or forced into nursing homes because you don't want to change your mind and make a place accessible for a disabled person. You should be utterly, totally ashamed of yourselves. To those business owners, and I can tell you, just here in Endicott, I have applied for 3 jobs, which I have the skill set for. All they see is the wheelchair. And all they see is, well, I'm not going to make my place accessible for that. I can't afford that. So I tell them, there are grants. You can contact the Southern Tier Independence Center. They can help you get those grants that you don't have to pay back to hire disabled people who meet your criteria. You should be ashamed of your damn self. People are supposed to evolve, not devolve. And did you know that even if someone is parked in a handicapped parking zone and they're not handicapped, you can't call the police. You must call code enforcement to deal with that issue. That could take days, weeks, even months for them to issue a ticket to the owner of the vehicle, which technically they don't even have to go to court for. Anything and everything that has to do with the ADA, the American Disabilities Act, is solely in the hands of code enforcement. You disabled people do not have the right to call the police on a crime that has been committed that falls under the ADA Act. We must call code enforcement. So it's time to stand up, sit up straight, put your arms out, Raise your voices. Protest if you can. And get that taken away from code enforcement. They're not helping you. They have far too many other jobs to do. They go around to hotels and businesses and homes just to make sure they meet the bare minimum standards and are not in violation of regular, everyday code violations. The government should be ashamed. It doesn't matter whether we go back to Carter or Ford or Nixon, or if we go forward to Bush, Clinton, Bush again, Obama, or even Trump. All of those presidents have had the means and the right to take that away. But it's not happening. Now here's some homework for you. I want you to go online, or better yet, call your county coroners and ask them how many disabled people, be they mental or a physical disability, such as forearm crutches or wheelchairs, have committed suicide because they can't find anywhere else to live. We can't protect ourselves out on the street like that, living on the street. And some of us who are diabetic or who depend upon life-saving medication that needs to be called, we can't get that on the street. And we know we'll die on the street without those medications. It's not hard to make a home or an apartment accessible. Go online. Find the ADA laws for tenant landlord. It's simple. It's not that expensive. And even if it were, you could contact an independent center, a local church, and ask them to help you make it that way. I can't tell you how many times in the last 10 years that I have tried to kill myself because I couldn't find a place to live. The Department of Social Services They don't see anybody as human beings. Unless, of course, you have children. And then you're a human being. Then they will help you. You'll get your full amount of food stamps. You'll get your full benefits of insurance. Some of you may even get your full benefits of DSS giving you actual money on a card. I don't get. The hotel I'm in now takes up 99% of my income. DSS gives me $69 in EBT food. 69. There's no money left over to go buy more food, to buy clothes, unless you save and you save and you save for 6-8 months for one outfit. One. Or a pair of shoes. My hair has grown considerably over the last year and a half. When I came here, I had a pixie. Very, very short pixie. And now, it's extremely long. Because I don't have the funds to go get my hair trimmed. Yeah, I want long hair, but I need it trimmed because I can't do anything with it. It's unruly. And that's the case with a lot of other people. Stand up. Let your voices be heard. You can't find a place to live. That landlord tells you, the landlord or the owner of the building tells you, sorry, we don't have. Make them feel ashamed. Because it has to start with us. It has to start with those of us who are disabled. That's a fact. Don't sit around being compliant, doing what they want you to do. Stop jumping through all these hoops. When you go to DSS and they make you feel less than human. They make you feel like an amoeba. And in order to get help, unless you have children, they will force you. They will use harsh words, bad attitudes, and eventually you end up crying, feeling like you are a nobody. Well, let me tell you something. You are somebody. You are a human being. You have the same rights as everybody else in your countries. You do. The military should be ashamed. People like me in a wheelchair, I've got massive computer skills. I type over 90 words a minute. You know, my data entry is well over 100 a minute. I could easily take a desk job. Yeah, I couldn't pass PRT, but I could still have a job. I could still serve my country in that capacity. Really could. So the military, you should be ashamed. I'm very capable. And there are others who are very capable. Stand up. Those of you who are disabled, stand up. Speak out. Has to start with you. You, and you. You want equal rights? You must fight for them. The African Americans fought for their rights. The Native Americans fought for their rights. Women fought for their rights. We are no different. We're not. Raise your voices, raise them high, make your signs, and make them give us equal rights that we are capable of doing. This is Roberta Downing signing off. I'll have more later.